shakalaka boom. You've tuned in to the free range human show of choice, your daily dose of reality radio. It starts right now. This is the Clay Edwards Show. I'm, of course, Clay Edwards coming at you. Live. That's live on the Big Stick, 103.9 FM WYAB, streaming worldwide in audio-only format at WYAB.com, as well as the TuneIn app or Alexa. Just search WYAB. Say it with me, kids. WYAB. And, of course, in stunning HD, as I wear my white Under Armour collared shirt this morning, at Save JXN on Facebook, X, YouTube, and Rumble. And if you can't remember any of that, just go to clayedwardsshow.com, hit links or streaming, and you can find everything there. If I had a producer, I could actually stream live there, but you got to drop the live link you're currently using into the link there to make it work right. And I just frankly don't have the time or wherewithal to do it. But hey, with all that said, glad to be back here. It's episode 1001. That's a space odyssey. That's 2001, isn't it? Either way. I want to thank everybody that partook in the 1000th episode, everybody that sent me congratulatory videos. I got so many that I have not had a chance to post them all yet, but we're going to. We are going to. I took a detox from social media, let's see here, Sunday for the most part. I dove back in last night as I was doing some show prep and posted a bunch of videos, but generally speaking, I took a little detox because we went hard last week. Very hard on social media, on radio, on digital, everything. Really tried to cross the finish line, so to say, in a blaze of glory. So, the Guns and Gear text line, 769-241-1944. The Mazda of Jackson phone line this morning, 601-879-0002. A lot happened over the weekend. Man, it was not a slow news weekend at all. Coming up here in the 8 a.m. hour, right at 8:07, when we come back from the break, from the news break, at the top of the second hour, we'll have Shuwaski Young on the Mazda of Jackson phone line, a former Democrat, worked in the Obama White House, now a conservative Republican here in the state of Mississippi, is the treasurer, I believe. So either secretary or treasurer for the, what's that? What county is Philadelphia? Up there in Neshoba. I was like, what county is that in? Up there in the Neshoba County Republican Party. He's a high-ranking official with them. Good dude. I'm going to ask him his opinions on this political violence going on in the country. When he was a high-ranking Democrat official, is he aware of any paid agitators? Is there somebody pulling the strings behind the scenes? Is George Soros really paying agitators and busting them in? If not, who? Could it be China? I've got some evidence that suggests it may be, that we'll get to at some point in the show. I got to get it clipped up and pulled up. I hadn't had a chance to do it yet, but we'll get to all that. They did the No Kings protest in Jackson. I want to talk about that. Coming up in hour 3 today, and there's a third hour today. It's heavy hitters, but it's not necessarily heavy hitters. We've got Jamie Creel, shelter insurance agent extraordinaire, going to join me. And we will tap off into some of the entrepreneur stuff. And it'll just be a conversation. I enjoyed chatting with Jamie, and he's right downstairs. So I didn't have a rock-solid guest scheduled for this morning for the Heavy Hitter Show. That's my fault, nobody else's. And so I tapped Jamie up last night. I said, hey, bro, why don't you come on and do the show with me from 9 to 10? And he's such a great guy to chop it up with. He obliged. So we got a lot for you this morning. Going to be here for 3 hours. Lock in. If you miss any, of course, it'll be available at all the aforementioned platforms at Save JXN on Facebook, X, YouTube, and Rumble. The audio-only podcast version will be available. Just search Clay Edwards Show. Just Clay Edwards Show. No the, Just Clay Edwards Show on Apple, Spotify, Podbean, Stitcher, you name it, we're there. Amazon Music, we're on there. Audible, audiobooks, we're there. Whichever one you prefer, go subscribe. And if you're watching live now, hit share wherever you're watching at. We've already got over 111 people at 7:13 in the morning on the live stream. Good morning to all you guys. We're going to get your comments and everything pulled up on the screen here in the second segment. So you want to see your comments up on the screen? You want everybody else to see your comments up on the screen? Jump in the live stream now, wherever you're watching at. They all, it's an aggregate. They all get moved to one space on the screen for everybody else to see, whether you're watching on YouTube, X, or Rumble. Pretty cool. We have the technology, as they say. All right, let's see here. No Kangs. All the ugly, unfortunate people decided to have a protest this weekend, and what is being called the largest organized protest in the history of this country. I don't know how they've come to that. I don't know. Were they working the door? Did somebody have a counter? I'm curious how they came about that statistic that this is the largest organized ever. I don't know. Then, of course, in Minnesota over the weekend, I'm pulling my notes up here, so I'm biding time. In Minnesota over the weekend, you had a Democrat go bat crap crazy and start killing other Democrats for having the audacity to switch party lines, to go against the party, to cross over, to cross the aisle, as some would say, and vote against the party to cut off free health care for illegal immigrants. How were they repaid? What's the old saying? No good deed goes unpunished. Hoo-wee. This nut job up there in Minnesota decided to kill one legislator and their spouse, and he attempted to kill another one and their spouse. They were both shot and are in critical condition. So I'm pulling my notes up here. I'm trying to decide where I want to start. Why don't we start with the Jacktown No Kings Parade? Let me get it all pulled up here, and we're going to dissect that a little bit. Again, the Guns and Gear text line is 769-241. I want to say it in a language some of y'all will understand. Some of us use the number 4. Some of us say foe. So, anyway, let me pull it up here. I don't even know why I was saying, the phone number. I was like, why am I saying foe and 4? The Guns and Gear text line is 769-2FOE or 41 769-241-1944. I'm going to stop. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to stop. I'm getting this pulled up on the screen here. One day, a boy will have a bigger computer with a faster internet, that'll do all this faster. But until then, he's just a boy that needs that, and a bigger screen, and a producer that'll work for free. I think I about got everything ready here. Dang it. It always starts before I want it to. Like, stop. Pause. Please, just pause. Have we got everything ready yet? Okay, there we go. I think we're ready, y'all. I think we're ready. This is from a local news outlet here in the central Mississippi area. Again, they refuse to say my name. I refuse to say theirs.
It was a day of protest across the Magnolia State and beyond. 3 on your sides, Teddy Reedy takes you to the Capitol with more from this protest.
Saturday, thousands came out to the Mississippi Capitol holding signs, with Mississippians protesting with the No Kings protest. Here we have 3 signs: free of kings, the revolution never stops, that they will never stop fighting, and that they will show
Now, if you're watching this online, I don't know what that humming is. I hope y'all can't hear that. If you're watching this, these people love to cover their face. I don't know what it is, but they love to cover their face like they're all down there. They just know. I mean, if you're not doing anything wrong, why do you need to hide your face? breaking the law. I mean, it reminds me of Judas Priest, which is so ironic with the Rainbow Supremacist as the lead singer of Judas Priest. Now, he's just a good old normal gay dude. I'm kidding. But it is a bit ironic that I could think most all these people are rainbow supremacists. And, of course, one of the flags they're holding up here. So I want to paint the picture for y'all if you're not watching here. I paused it, and this is purely coincidence because I didn't catch this last night. Now, these is down at our Jackson, Mississippi Capitol, so this is local. No Kings. One of the guys here, assuming gender, very well could be a girl. I'm only looking from the top of the nose, the tip of the nose up here because they got their face covered. Probably got a little salty substance on there from the night before, but who knows. Says the revolution never stops. And the flags that they have chosen, they got 3 flags painted on this handmade sign here. Looks like an art project at the local middle school. I'm sure they're probably on a predators list and they aren't allowed anywhere near schools, but that aside. It's got the Mexico flag on the left. On the far right, it's got the Palestinian flag, and slap dab in the middle, he's letting us know that he is, in fact, a queer for Palestine. He's got the rainbow flag. It says the revolution never stops, but it will be live streamed. All right, I added that last part. Dude, they're the same people. You heard the expression NPC bots. That means non-playable characters. So for y'all that don't know, that maybe aren't in part of gamer culture, which I don't play games either. Y'all know my story. I dropped out of school because they had recess. I don't play games. But I keep up with technology and tech, and I'm just knee deep in the culture war, and I understand it all. And there's these things called NPC bots. Now, don't get it twisted. We got them on the right side too, and they're all over X. They're part of what I refer to as kind of like the woke right. Now, what the left is calling the woke right is not what I think the woke right is. To me, the woke right are like some of these conservative think tank people. They're the woke right. The people who keep telling us that, and I'm going down a rabbit hole here. I don't mean to do it this early, but it's the people who keep telling us that we're racist if we disagree with school choice. Those are the woke right. I digress. So just kind of painting the picture for you here. The revolution never stops. The Mexican flag, which dang near looks like the Iranian flag, to be honest with you. The rainbow flag and the Palestinian flag. I mean, did they forget about Ukraine? Have we forgot about Ukraine already? Is it already not? Are we already out of Ukraine season? I thought the Ukrainians were God's people. I mean, I thought the Ukrainians were the left-wing version of the Israelis. The God's chosen people. I mean, that's what I've been told for the last 2+ years, is that it's basically in the Bible that America has to protect Ukraine. And that's the same thing they tell us about Israel. I mean, it's in the Bible. We got to protect them. Even though America didn't exist when the Bible was written, but that's neither here nor there. I know I'm going to ruffle some feathers with that one. I know some of you war hawks, I'm going to ruffle some feathers with that one. Let's let this continue. Then we got to take a break.
Passion. Now, these protests are sparked because of Trump's ICE raids and the day that Trump held his military parade.
It's pretty pathetic, that it's sad that they do not understand what these people bring to our country.
Now, this is Teresa Bogan. She's holding a sign that says impeach traitors, which I have no problem doing. When are we going to lock up Joe Biden? We learned that with Trump, you can, in fact, retro impeach a president. So are we going to retro impeach Joe Biden? How about we retro impeach Obama for killing American citizens and kids with drone attacks?
These Mississippians came out to stand together in solitude for No King's Day, a series of nationwide protests and demonstrations.
You know, we already have No King's Day. That is July 4th. That's No King's Day, the real one. You know, we actually fought a whole war over this and everything. And Trump, of course, was just the absolute greatest troll. God, I love Big Daddy Trump. I love him. Love him, love him, love him. But here's what Trump had to say about this. Well, I thought somebody had sent that to me. Hold on. I shall find it. Here it is. Trump came out and said a huge thank you to all the No Kings protesters yesterday. I was very concerned a king was trying to take my place, but thanks to your tireless efforts, I am still your president. Great job, all. Let's finish up this video and go straight to break.
The same day as President Trump's birthday and a military parade. The protests in the capital city remain peaceful. We asked protesters why they decided to come out Saturday.
Also here for people who are being torn away from their families by these ICE raids and mass deportations. I'm standing up essentially for people who can't stand up for themselves.
I want my country to stay free and democratic. And I do not understand why my government is not fighting this tyrant. But if they need to see that they're not alone, you can grow up, you can find a spine and stop this man, then the more numbers they see, the better.
Many of these protesters were from the younger generations. They believe they have the obligation to take action.
I'm here to be here for people that are getting deported by ICE and people's rights.
I think we're a generation that's very heavy on integrity.
Now, you know what we're going to do? I want to pick this apart. We're going to take a break, and when we come back, I want to rewind and reset with the young kid there, because I got some real thoughts about them trying to shove this narrative down our throats that the younger generation is only left-wing. BS, BS, BS. I met some great young patriots at Martin Saturday afternoon, and I'm going to tell you about that. We're going to pick this apart and more. This is the Clay Edwards Show. I will be right back on WYAB. Welcome back in to the Clay Edwards Show here live on WYAB. Streaming worldwide, WYAB.com, as well as the TuneIn app. And Alexa, just search, you know it, WYAB. This segment brought to you by our friends at UrgeVet. Pet emergencies don't wait, and why should you? UrgeVet Emergency Vets of Madison offers low wait times and cutting-edge technology to provide fast, expert care for all household pets. Located at 15 Olympic Way, their hours of operation are weeknights from 5 p.m. to 8 a.m. Again, that's 5 p.m. to 8 a.m. It is an after-hours place. And then they are 24 hours on weekends and holidays. Man, shout out to those. I was giving my shout outs to all the blue collar folks Friday that have easily worked 1,000 days in a row, done 1,000 done whatever. People that don't get celebrated, people whose milestones don't get celebrated, they don't get congratulatory videos made about them. And I left off so many people, and I was embarrassed of myself when I left here. Of the people that I left off, the foundation of this show has been built on supporting law enforcement. And somehow or another, I completely forgot to give a shout out to our law enforcement that have been out there busting their balls and butts for 1,000 days, 1,000 shifts, whatever the case may be. So my apologies. And how about our vets as well? We love our pets. I know you do. So shout out to our vets, man, out there working 24 hours on the weekends, nights and holidays. Come on down, young son. Anyway, shout out to the vets out there. Shout out to the people who work 24 hours. Ooh-wee. Anyway, you can contact them at 601-790-1918. 601-790-1918. That's UrgeVet, because when it comes to your pet's health, trust the team that's fast, reliable, and compassionate. They've been open for 5 years. They were founded by my buddy, local veterinarian, Dr. Spencer Mills. The general manager is the well-known and well-respected Miss Melissa Calmes. It's a state-of-the-art facility. They're fast, they're reliable, and again, they're open on all major holidays and 24 hours on weekends and holidays, and of course, 5 p.m. to 8 a.m. Monday through our weeknights. I'm guessing Friday's considered a weekend, so it's 24 hours in. That's UrgeVet in Madison. All right, man, we're playing this video of some protesters down at the Capitol over the weekend, and I got to a point that I found quite interesting where they were interviewing a kid. So I want to go back to that. And I'm going to be respectful, but I want to make a point. And of course, ironically, I got it freeze framed here with a white girl unattractive, we call them the unfortunates. And I got to give credit where credit's due on the unfortunates thing. Is one of the guys that I really look up to a lot, Andy Frisella. He's the CEO of First Form Supplement Company, and he's got one of the best podcasts out there, the Real AF podcast. I highly recommend it. It's on YouTube, Apple, Spotify, all those places. Really, really good podcast. Real AF. You know what it stands for? Real as the F word. And it stands up for it. He walks it like he talks it. Here we go.
Then the more numbers they see, the better.
Many of these protesters were from the younger generations. They believe they have the obligation to take action.
I'm here to be here for people that are getting deported by ICE and people's rights.
Now, I 1,000% do not believe that he woke up and thought that. I believe Mama, who they're going to interview here in just a second, loaded his lips up with exactly what she wanted him to say. You know, I walked in, I just had a clay day Saturday and just went and did some stuff I wanted to do and just woosawed for a minute. I'd gone out to core therapy and did the cryo chamber. I did the red light therapy, the compression boot, air boot deal, and the oxygen bar. Just woosawed, man. I was in a good mood. I mean, good mood. Hadn't had more than about 3 beers in the last 2 weeks. Just feeling good, just chilling, man. So I decided to ride out there and sightsee at the new mega site in Canton or wherever it's at, Madison County. Wow. That's all I got to say about that. But I was coming back and I decided to eat lunch about 3 o'clock. I realized I hadn't eaten yet. So I stopped at Martin's in Livingston for the 3rd time this week. Man, it's so good. And I walk in to these 3 young dudes, couldn't be 17, 18 years old. If they're a little older, I apologize. But I mean, they're young guys. I mean, no sooner than I walked in the door. Hey, Clay, can I get a picture? And we just got to chopping it up and stuff. And I mean, they went straight to, man, what do you think's going on down there at the Capitol? And I was so impressed by these guys' level of knowledge as to what's going on politically around here. I mean, they were just hitting stuff like that I would consider next level. I mean, they're not surface level plugged in. They are plugged in just like a host of a podcast or a radio show. Like it was their job to know what was going on. Guys, we are in good hands when it comes to this next generation. Don't believe the media. No. Do not believe the media. This next generation is plugged in, son, and they are ready for the culture war. They are ready. Because here's the deal. You know, Democrats don't have babies. They kill theirs. Or they're gay and they don't have babies. That's just fact. That's true. It is what it is. They love abortions or they're gay. And the Democrats, for the most part, don't have a lot of kids. They either adopt, and that's fine. Adopt. Hey, you know what? Or what they really love to say is, we don't have kids. We have your kids, because they get into teaching and grooming and all of that stuff. So more conservatives have kids. Anyway. Now, that's not 100% accurate all the time. Obviously, Democrats do have kids. I mean, look at Jackson. Anyway, continuing on here.
I think we're a generation that's very heavy on integrity and being true to who we are and to what we believe. All
right, so you got this liberal white girl here talking about integrity and being true to what they believe. Were their thoughts on integrity with the media and Russiagate and every other lie that the media has told the left-wing media for the last 10 years? I wonder how they feel about the integrity of that. Ah, dang it.
Willow Blue one.
I sat here and accidentally, damn it. Sorry. I hit the skip button. So we got to go back. I'll tell you what, while I reset it, we ran over big time that last segment. We're going to get through this video because there's some good content here. We're going to get through this video. We're going to reset, get back on schedule. This is the Clay Edwards Show. We will be right back on WYAB. Welcome back in to the Clay Edwards Show. This segment brought to you by Ellis Autoplex. Guys, I rode through Ellis yesterday afternoon. I was coming back from a Father's Day function out on the other side of the reservoir, and I just decided to ride through, man, and just kind of peek at the inventory in person. It was raining, so I didn't get out of the vehicle. The frontline vehicles look awesome. They're ready. Of course, they've got four-wheel drive pickups. They got some really cool other stuff too you need to check out. But it was the stuff that was lined up on the prep row, on the recon row, stuff they've just bought, getting ready. Man, there's a charcoal gray F-150 Platinum that's got a little lift kit on it. It may just be a level kit, but it looked maybe like a 2 or 3 inch lift kit. It's set up kind of nice. It's got the factory platinum wheels, but it's got some really good looking, aggressive, bigger tires on it. When they get this thing reconned, cleaned up and ready, it ain't going to last long. I'm telling you, you may want to swing by there now. If you're in the market for a platinum with a little level kit, possibly a little lift kit, and some what look like maybe 33 to 35s on it, on I think what is a 20-inch factory wheel, but don't quote me on that. This thing just looked good, aggressive, but not too aggressive, like an adult could have it and it not be too much, or a younger guy could have it and it be just enough. Either way, swing by, check out the inventory, check them out online, ellisautoplex.com. I did take a picture of it, and I was going to ask Casey if he minded me posting pictures of his yet to be reconned inventory. But I really, really like this thing. So get by there, check it out. Check out the ready-to-buy inventory at ellisautoplex.com or swing by in person. Highway 471, Flowood, Mississippi, right out there in Rankin County. Locally owned, locally operated, family-operated, Ellis Autoplex. And Casey just texted in, said it's got a 6-inch lift and it's sitting on 37-inch mud grapplers. So my suspicions were correct, and he did just give me permission to post a picture of it. Fine truck, but it doesn't, again, a 6-inch lift with 37s, it's not overkill. It's something and I believe Platinum's got the power running boards, so they come down further than a regular running board. So if you're getting a little older, knees getting a little more delicate, you'll have no problem getting in and out of this thing. Swing by, see them today, tell them I sent you, and don't forget they're buying cars right now. Go get a number put on yours. My buddy Jonathan Sanford went and got a number put on his truck so he could get ready to sell it. Do the same. And maybe the number's just the right number for you, and you go ahead and you just sell it to them. That's Ellis Autoplex. All right, man, let's jump back into this video here, and I do apologize for it wasn't a technical difficulty. It was a clay issue. I hit the wrong button, but I got it queued back up. We're picking back up with the two angry-looking, early 20s-ish white girls. More of the unfortunates here. And, of course, one of them holding an America sign up with of course, they spell America wrong. Instead of A-M-E-R-I-C-A, they replaced the C with 3 Ks. Now, I'm going to go on record again. And this makes Democrats so mad when I say this. I don't know why they get so angry when you say this, but they run on racism. Like a vehicle runs on gas, Democrats are fueled by racism. And if there's not enough real racism, they manufacture racism. And they know that the blacks can be hyper emotional about this topic, and it's just something that they lose all train of normal thought on, and they just get super emotional. So they know that they keep the blacks fired up by perpetrating imaginary acts of racism and keeping the racism industrial complex rolling on down the tracks. So anyway, she's holding, to my point, I've never seen a Klansman in real life. I've never seen one of these Democrats with their hoods on in real life. It's always on TV. And it's always Democrats. I watched a great documentary over the weekend on Forgotten History on YouTube. Name of the channel is Forgotten History. I'll gladly share the link with anybody who is willing to watch it. about the quote-unquote big switch politically. There was no big switch. Just as we've been saying, the Democrats are still the stinking-ass Democrats. Republicans are still the Republicans. There was no switch ever. They swapped. The Klan is now just BLM and Antifa. Or Free Palestine. Or Free Ukraine. Or whatever else. Let's take a call on the Mazda Jackson phone line. Good morning, you're on there.
Morning, Clay. Big Ed here.
Hey, Big Ed.
Are you in the studio or are you down at Men's Wellness?
No, I'm in the studio.
Good. I want to drop by and give you something. Probably be there in about 20, 30 minutes. Is that all right?
Yeah. Just if the door's locked, just leave it down there and let me know.
I'll leave it up, leaning up against the door.
All right. Thank you, Big Ed.
All right, buddy. See you.
All right. But by the way, the studio is the Men's Health and Women's Wellness Studio. Thank you, Big Ed, for reminding me there. It's all the same place. It's all the same place. It's just the name of the studio is powered by Men's Health and Women's Wellness, much like the Democrats. Powered by. I'm kidding. Look, but the Democrats are powered by racism. So they constantly have to manufacture false claims of racism. They have to keep this racism machine going. So I just find it funny here that some 20-something-year-old white girl, that if Clay Edwards ain't never seen a Klansman, and I've seen some wild things, but never, just in my day-to-day goings, have I seen a Klansman. Now, I know people say, well, Clay, there was a Klan rally on this date, where they marched down the street. Yeah, but you went out of your way to see that. If in 2025, now I'm not saying the Klan doesn't exist, because evil, racist Democrats exist. If in 2025, if you see a Klansman, you sought them out. They did not seek you out. You sought them out. But that's really all I got to say. This lady ain't seen no damn Klansman. Let's finish. And I'm not going to say another word the rest of the video. Scouts on her.
And being true to who we are and to what we believe. And for any people to succeed, you always have to be honest. And you have to back up what you say you believe. And so for me, I didn't want to not put my money where my mouth is.
Noelle Covington and her son came out as a mother-son duo. Covington.
I do have to say this for the people on radio. This is the mother of the young kid that sparked my whole rant here, saying how he told her he wanted to come down here. She did not load his lips. She did not say, you got to go with me because I don't want a babysitter.
Says it means a lot for her son to be by her side.
It makes me feel like I've raised him good, and I did give him the option. I didn't force him to do it, so it makes me happy to know that he is seeing these things and knowing that we are peacefully protesting and standing up for what we believe in, and he also knows if he chooses down the road to believe differently that I will support him no matter what.
I don't believe her. If he comes home from school one day and he goes full MAGA on that ass, she's not going to support that. She's not going to support that.
From Jackson, Teddy Reedy, 3 on your side.
Again, another local news outlet there, giving their thoughts and opinions on a peaceful protest. Boy, they love to let you know. They love to let you know that Democrats and their peaceful protest. I never get this right. There we go. What do you guys think? The Guns and Gear text line, 769-241-1944. Let's take a look at the text this morning. Unknown texter says, all the videos I've seen of the No Kings protest look like too many white people attended. It was all white. Okay, so by the way, I've got to retract something I said last week. Early on in these ICE protests, I insinuated that the blacks were right on board with this and that they would be partaking in all the shenanigans. Now they did do some looting out there in Los Angeles and some of these big blue cities. Make no mistake. But they're very opportunistic people. They're not going to miss an opportunity to do a little looting. The ones in these areas like that. I mean, they took a break from killing one another. I mean, robbing is, at least they're not robbing and killing. Well, technically looting is robbing, but neither here nor there. But the blacks did not jump on board with the white liberals and the illegals' no ICE raids or anti-ICE raids. Because I think they do realize that they love to say this word here, so I'm going to say it for them, disproportionately affects their communities. These illegal immigrants disproportionately affect black and brown communities. Man, I never thought I would say that and mean it, but they do. And kudos to the blacks. They've realized that they disproportionately affect black and brown communities, and they did not get out and stand shoulder to shoulder with the angry unfortunates during their protest over the last week. They dang sure didn't join them down in Jackson. I did not see a single black or brown person in that entire No Kings clip from WLBT. And keep in mind that Jackson, Mississippi is the blackest city in America. That's not hyperbole, Mac May. It's hyperbolic. That's not hyperbole. Jackson is the blackest city in America, statistically, factually. And I didn't see a single black in that video. What's that clip Kim Wade played? Where the white women at? Where the black folks at? Where were they at? I was coming back from Madison, and I had my camera with me. I had my big gun with me in case it popped off. All that. I was going to get some footage and get some pictures and stuff. My boy Daryl Arnold went down there and tried to interview a couple of them, and they all cussed him out, said no, and just crazy. They don't even know why they're there, y'all. They don't even know why they're there. But anyway, I tried to get down there, but God don't like ugly. So ironically, he brought a big rainstorm through and busted it up at the door, as Kim Wade says. No Kings got busted up at the door. I was riding around down there looking for some SpongeBob-built women with the butch bodies to do a little cat calling at. But they had already been busted up at the door and were gone by the time I got down there. So I just rode around downtown and looked how bad it had gotten. Rode by my old nightclub, 105, there on the corner of Capitol and Farish. I took some pictures, posted it online. Man, it's a shame what's happened down there. Absolute shame. I mean, we thought it was a ghost town downtown back in 2003, 4, 5, all the way up to 11 when we moved out from down there. We thought it was a ghost town after 5 o'clock then. It is an absolute ghost town now, except it's meth zombies that have replaced the ghost. We'll be right back on the Clay Edwards Show. Welcome back in. Coming up, hour 2. Here in just a couple minutes, we're going to have Shuwaski Young calling in to discuss all of the political violence popping off around the country. Former Democrat operative in the Obama White House, now conservative, living right here in Mississippi. Shuwaski Young will be joining us. That and more. Stay tuned. All right, guys, I hate to send y'all right back to break, but I got to prep for this phone call. Y'all don't go anywhere. This is going to be really, really good stuff. We're going to take a deep dive into these political assassinations over the weekend in Minnesota, the riots, the No Kings protest, and more. Are these things being funded by somebody? Are these things being funded by China? Are protesters really paid to go do this? We're going to talk to a guy that would know. If anybody knows, Shuwaski would know, and he's on our team now. He's on our team now. I've been wrong about some things, in the past. Believe it or not, Clay's been wrong before. I got something wrong the other day, as a matter of fact. I'll circle back to that in a minute. I've said we need to be careful about opening our arms a little too wide for some of these rehabilitated Democrats. But I think, if I'm not going to be a hypocrite here, I've said for a long time that, I grew up in the black community. And that's why I give the black community so much hell, because I know what the black community is really about. I know how religious they used to be. Once this Big Mama generation is completely gone, I don't know. But the Big Mama generation, I know how religious they are. And I know that what's this foolishness going on and this foolishness that the Democrat Party supports versus their values, they don't line up. The black community is way more conservative than what their voting habits would suggest. Anyway, with guys like Shuwaski coming over from the Democrat Party to the Republican Party, that's what we need. That's what we need. As long as it's pure, and I do believe it's pure. I mean, he's still going to have some of his thoughts and beliefs, and that's fine. I mean, he can believe in some of these things. We can all be different. We don't have to agree on everything. So I'm really, really happy to have him. And I was kind of wrong. Before I met him, I thought he was kind of a wolf in sheep's clothing. I'm going to be honest, and I probably told him that if I hadn't. He's hearing it now. But he's definitely proven me to be wrong there. Even my boy Topher has come out and said that he kind of thought the same thing. And after an interview on my show, he saw that he was here for the right reasons and he was the real deal. And that meant a lot for me to hear that from Topher. If you don't know Topher, black conservative from right there in Neshoba County too. Surprised they didn't know each other. Maybe they did in another life. I don't know. But looking forward to having Shuwaski on again. He's become a regular on this show. Really excited about that. He'll be on at 8:07. I got to get ready for that phone call here in 5 minutes. Y'all don't go anywhere. This is the Clay Edwards Show, streaming worldwide at Save JXN. Hit the share button if you don't mind. Hit that share button. We quoted Andy Frisella earlier talking about the unfortunates. Let me borrow another one of their quotes. Don't be a hoe, share the show. Y'all be sure to check out that Andy Frisella podcast, Hard AF, the Hard AF show. That's hard as fuck, Hard AF. All right, I'll be right back. Don't go. Boom goes the dynamite. Welcome back in. It's our deuce of the Clay Edwards Show, the most incendiary show on the RADIO. We spelled radio. 103.9 FM WYAB, streaming worldwide at WYAB.com, as well as the TuneIn app and Alexa. Just search WYAB. Alexa, play the Clay Edwards Show. That's all you got to say, I think. I've never actually done it, but people have told me. Also, if you miss any of it, you can always just hit play again on any of the aforementioned apps right here, or the soon-to-be-mentioned apps, Facebook, X, YouTube, and Rumble. Search Save JXN, and you will find the Clay Edwards Show live every Monday through Friday, 7:07 a.m. to 9 a.m., except Mondays for 3 hours. That's right, 3 hours of this today. Hey, real quick, this segment enough about me. This segment brought to you by our good friends. They're going to be presenting this phone call here, Mazda of Jackson. Go visit them today right there at Briarwood on 55 in Jackson, Mississippi, as the name would reflect, Mazda of Jackson. Did you know that they are the home of the lifetime powertrain warranty? That's right. All new Mazdas sold come with a complimentary lifetime powertrain warranty. And that is the proper use of the term warranty, because a warranty is something you get for free. A service contract is something you purchase afterwards. There's no such thing as an extended warranty that you pay for. If you get a warranty, it's free. So just a little food, a little inside baseball there for you folks out there buying cars. You get a free warranty, a lifetime powertrain warranty from Mazda Jackson on all new Mazda purchases. If something else you get too for a little customer service, though the name is Mazda Jackson, it might have you thinking there's some big national conglomerate that didn't want to put their name on the building. That had contraire move frere. They are locally owned and locally operated. Chris and Cassidy Carr, husband-wife duo, great people. They sit there. They don't hide behind 37 offices and doors and sales managers and corporate structure. They work the deals shoulder to shoulder with their sales team, and you get to meet one of them and or get their cell phone number every time you purchase a vehicle. So if you're having any troubles that your sales guy can't quite handle, you're just having a hard time articulating your issue with them, whatever the case may be, you can have a direct access to one of the owners to get your situation taken care of. Mazda Jackson. You don't get that at every big franchise dealership. You just don't. A guy that was in the business for 12 years, I'm still blown away that they give their cell phone number out. That is so awesome. Great folks, easy to talk to. They live here locally because they're local. They're locally owned. They're locally operated, family owned, family operated. MazdaJackson.com. Check it out today. Don't forget, they got pre-owned vehicles as well, late model, low mileage, great financing options. If your credit has hit a Jackson-sized pothole, don't worry about it. Mazda Jackson's probably got a path to vehicle ownership for you. Also, you got great credit. Don't sell yourself short on leasing. Take a look at the leases. I'm telling you, leasing is a reward for good credit now. Not a scam, not some nonsense like it used to be back in the 90s. Consider leasing. All right. Speaking of Mazda Jackson, let's go to my boy Shuwaski Young over on the Mazda Jackson phone line. He got up this morning to call in with us. Shuwaski, you there?
Hey, Clay, good morning. Yes, I'm here.
Happy belated Father's Day, my friend.
Hey, man, to you too as well. Happy, I believe, Father's Day to you as well. Hope it was a great one.
It was, man. Got to spend some time with my daughter, and then I went over and got to spend some time with my dad. Of course, my daughter lives with me, and I tried to get her to go to the family function we were doing, but she goes, I'm on a cleaning burner right now, and she doesn't like cleaning. And to me, that was the greatest Father's Day gift she could give, was cleaning her room and cleaning out her car. So I really have no complaints, except she overloaded the washer and dryer. But that aside, I should probably just keep my thoughts to myself on that now that I say it out loud. But with that said, happy Father's Day, my friend. A lot going on this weekend.
Thank you.
It was not a quiet weekend around America, and I couldn't think of a better guy. As I was doing my show prep last night, I was telling you on the phone line, I said my show prep is a lot like a puzzle, a lot like my life. It's like a puzzle, and every part of it's very important, or the puzzle won't stay together. You can't finish the puzzle. My finances are like that with all the different things that I do, from radio to content to ad sales to everything. And my show prep was a lot like that. And as I was going through here, I said, man, I really want to talk about political violence, and I need somebody that's been on the inside, on the other side, to talk to them. And you were the first person that came to mind, and I texted you at like 11 o'clock last night.
Thank you.
So I do appreciate you getting back with me this morning, or late last night, actually. So with that said, Shuwaski, a lot popped off over the weekend, man. You had the No King's Day killings up there in Minnesota, where a former Tim Walz appointee murdered a legislator and their spouse and attempted to murder another one, and critically wounded them, but they're in the hospital by shooting them. And again, talk about piecing a puzzle together. Then you also had what's going on is all these riots going on around America with the ICE protest and everything. And what I want to try to understand from a guy that's been on the inside, you worked in the Obama White House, is are paid. I know I'm throwing a lot at you here, so feel free to unpack it however you want. Are paid protesters a real thing? And if so, who is paying and organizing these massive events like these No King's Day protests? And what are they trying to truly accomplish, if so? I know there's a lot kind of throwing at you there. Unpack that however you want, and then we can kind of circle back to the Minnesota thing, or we can start there together but separate.
Well, thank you again for having me on, Clay. And I'll tell you, this is a serious thing. What happened in Minnesota, first and foremost, was tragic, was heartbreaking, and more than anything, of course, it was deeply disturbing. Having, whether Republican or Democrat, in this case, it was Democrats, and being, assaulted and shot, and in 2 cases killed.
Well, yeah, we had Trump shot. We had Trump shot back over the summer.
Absolutely.
Of last year, last July. This political violence has been ratcheted up here in the last 12 months to levels we haven't seen in our lifetime, in my opinion.
Well, and look, and I'll just start by saying, look, there's no place, in our society for political violence, no matter what side you stand on. And it's tragic and it's heartbreaking to see that this is where society is actually moving right now, because of the way in which our political rhetoric has actually moved up. I think that what we're seeing right now with these political protests is exciting, that particular violence, because our particular politics right now are so convoluted, and everyone is just so dire, to have their voices heard, and doing it in the wrong way. When we see that, hey, if you don't agree with President Trump, that's fine. But to go ahead and target his life, and to go ahead and target these politicians' lives in Minnesota, all because you don't like the fact that they changed their mind when it comes to abortion or health care or you don't like the way the immigration policy is actually going, or you don't like the fact that people want to put their country first with our flags up and no other country flags up in our country, and you want to obfuscate the immigration system and not take the pathway of citizenship that we already have. Look, these are times in which we have to be able to take our society seriously. We have to take our political culture seriously. And, the horrific attack that we saw is a sobering reminder that we have to continue to do the hard work to make sure that our society, through, of course, law enforcement, is civil, respectful, and we secure our political culture here in the United States. We cannot have, hate, intimidation, and attacks on our public servants, no matter what political party that they're in. And when it comes to, these paid protesters, as you talked about, I'll just jump to that. Yeah, there are paid political protesters in this country, and many times, you do see them on the Democratic side. The No Kings political protest that was deeply organized throughout the entire United States, and also here in Mississippi.
They're calling it the largest organized protest in American history.
Well, you had over 200 organizations, that actually put up money for this to actually happen. You had folks like folks from the individual movement, indivisible movement, ACLU, Federation of Teachers or teacher unions. You had people from like Move On. And if you know anything about Move On, that's the organization that Karen Jean-Pierre, the former lying press secretary of President Biden's administration, that's who she used to work for, right? And, I knew her in some respects, going before throughout history and politics, but I'll tell you this, these are the type of organization that they are not there to meet people in the middle. They are there to push a far left progressive agenda on the United States that a presidential election through mandate has already proven and shown that we don't want. And what they want to do is come back and start uproaring society, moving people further to the left to try to gain and get votes for the next presidential election and also in the U.S. House and Senate. And they're paying people with $150, a couple $100 a day to basically go in and, raise havoc in cities. And I really appreciate what, happened up in DeSoto County. There's a black Republican sheriff up there, and he just let folks know right off the top that, hey, you can, protest here peacefully, and exercise your amendment rights and do that. But we're not going to have folks, trying to disrupt, society, disrupt our communities and make people feel unsafe. So we have to be able to allow people to protest. It's that's the right thing to do. But when you see what's happening in L.A., where the city has already said this is a unlawful assembly, and yet the mayor, the governor, politicians throughout the state, like Rob Bonta, who's the Attorney General of California, who I know personally and have worked with. He have his phone number in my phone right now. He's generally a very good guy. I know him. But they're on the wrong side of this particular opinion.
Absolutely. Just sit back and look, I love protest. I think it's what this country, it's the fabric of what this country has been built on, is our right to protest. And, look, I love the phrase F around and find out. And I think with protesting, you can do that, and you can peacefully do that and get your point across. I think it happened out here in Rankin County recently with people that got really, really upset with the board of supervisors on a ordinance they had passed about mobile homes and being X amount of years old on property. Yes. And that mean they showed up and they showed out in a positive way. Regardless of which side of the argument I was on, I loved that I live in a county where people are so passionate about a little decision that the Board of Supervisors made that they showed up to their big monthly breakfast. They protested the right way, and they got it done. They got something changed. And, man, I thought that is the bedrock of what this country should be when it comes to our right to peacefully protest. I thought that was the right way to do it. And then as a conservative, you look back over the last 4 or 5 years. When did you officially switch over to was it last year that you switched from Democrat to Republican?
In November 2023, I announced moving to a conservative philosophy.
23,
in 2024, okay. Yeah, well, in 2024, I officially left the Democratic Party early on, and later in 2024, I joined the Republican Party.
That's right. And it was all sometime in the last 18 months. So, yeah, 2 years roughly.
I transitioned over 18 months.
Yeah, so the right kind of transitioning, folks, not the other kind. I kid. You know,
God knows that. Hey, let them know that for sure.
For sure. Look, you know, it's a shame some words have been so hijacked that you got to specify sometimes. You know, transitioned is one of those words. I always have to say, not that kind, Democrats. You know,
not that kind, right? Well, you know, well, you're right. It's hijacking the American language, and I love Dave Chappelle, and one of his jokes is, you know, you took the LGBTQIA community, which I've learned, of course, being a Democrat and all this stuff, and said that you have a segment of people that has taken 20% of the alphabet for themselves. It was funny, but it also was a very intellectual joke in which, you know, it's true. You are changing words and things of that nature.
Well, you know, going back to these paid protests and stuff, kind of my bigger point here is, you know, I need authenticity with it. I mean, like January 6th, I was kind of working my way to that. That obviously went too far in some terms, but I understood the frustration. And we feel like as a conservative, we feel like there's a different set of rules for when conservatives protest than when Democrats get to. It's no matter how much stuff is burning, no matter how much violence, rioting, and looting is going on, it's always portrayed as a peaceful protest, a mostly peaceful protest. Just a few people hanging out, having a good time, watching some cars burn. And when conservatives do it, it's always this air of this narrative of racism and violence and right-wing hate groups and all these things. And I'm not saying that doesn't exist, but even when it doesn't, like they have scared with what they did January 6th of going after MAGA meemaws, sightseeing through the Capitol and all that. Yes, did some people deserve to be arrested on January 6th? Absolutely. And anybody who says differently is seeing things through a different color lens. But they've neutered conservatives into being afraid to protest. Meanwhile, Democrats have this free pass, even with a Trump DOJ and a Trump White House and everything else. We feel like that if we protest, we'll go to jail, and that we got to get back to us being allowed to protest without the fear of going to jail. We got to get away with rules for thee, but not for me. There's got to be equal punishment. I need to see some Democrats locked up for violence, if nothing else, just to let folks know that, hey, we see what's going on.
Right. People actually saw what was happening on TV. And yet, you know, there you have Democratic politicians there in California, in New York, in Chicago, saying these are peaceful protests. But we see that cars are on fire. We see that bricks are being thrown at law enforcement individuals. We see that the chiefs of police are actually reporting that, you know, many of these people at these particular protests were not even American citizens, and that they are being arrested. And I think that that's the ludicrous part of it. But you are absolutely right. Being able to organize and being able to protest, you know, from a conservative standpoint, you has to be part of the strategy. And I think that's something that, you know, hope I can be helpful with here in Mississippi. Lord knows I have a lot of experience at it. And I think that we have an opportunity to, you know, get our message out in a legal way, such as protesting and getting our proper permits and things of that nature. But one of the things that, you know, I take a step back. Here's the difference between Democrats and liberals of yesterday and those of today. And I don't want to get just the liberal and conservative points mixed up, because a lot of folks often forget that folks like Dr. Martin Luther King, people like even Malcolm X, these were extremely conservative people, extremely conservative. They were not this, you know, Al Sharpton, Jesse Jackson type of civil rights leader that we've actually seen today, that has put forth policies that have been detrimental to the black community.
Shuwaski,
and, you know, just
hold that thought. I love where you're going with this, and I got some thoughts on that too. We got to take a break. We got Shuwaski Young here on the line with us. Shuwaski, what's your exact title over there at the Neshoba Conservative Party?
So in Philadelphia, Mississippi, in Neshoba County, I'm the secretary of the Republican Executive Committee.
Okay, great. I just wanted to make sure I got your title right.
In Neshoba County.
All right.
Yep, it's all good.
We got Shuwaski Young with us. We'll be right back on the Clay Edwards Show here live in the Men's Health and Women's Wellness Studios. Shuwaski's on the Mazda of Jackson phone line, and I sound like a NASCAR driver that just won a race. Make sure we get all of our sponsors in there. We'll be right back in 4 minutes. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back in to the Clay Edwards Show here live in the Men's Health and Women's Wellness Studios. Guys, you know, it's a Men's Health Monday, And you know what's next. You know what's next. Text Clay. Simply, plain and put, my name, CLAY. Text it to 601-327-8550. 601-327-8550. Screenshot the screen right there, right now. If you're watching on your mobile device, I've got it pulled up. If you're suffering from fatigue, decreased muscle tone, lack of energy, low libido, brain fog, sleep disturbances, or you've been voting Democrat, you likely are suffering from low testosterone. I can't confirm or deny that last statement, but I find it to be true and accurate in my day-to-day givings, my day-to-day adventures. I like to have fun. Y'all know I like to kid around. Take your testosterone level serious. Also, they have compounded semaglutide available. Get yours today. Save nearly $1,000 a month by going with compounded semaglutide versus the name brand stuff like Ozempic. You can get it right here with the care of a local physician, Dr. Michael Walker, at Men's Health of Mississippi and, of course, Women's Wellness of Mississippi. You're going to text my name. They're going to give you an option when you get to the text. Are you texting about testosterone or are you texting about weight loss? Plain and simple. Everybody can do it, men and women. Text Clay, 601-327-8550. Let's get back to the Mazda of Jackson phone line where we've got Shuwaski Young waiting there. Shuwaski, all joking aside real quick, you switched over from Democrat to conservative. Does that line up with about the same time you maybe or maybe not started taking testosterone replacement therapy?
I haven't. You know what? I do push-ups and work out, and I try to eat healthy. That's the most I've done, brother.
I'm messing with you, brother. I'm messing with you. But do get your levels. Do get your levels checked. You won't regret it, man. Compliments of the Clay Edwards Show. All right, look, man. I'll play it aside.
Hey, I am 42 now. Might be a good idea.
It's absolutely a good idea. If you're over 35, you need to go get it done. I'll get you a free screening there. Get you hooked up with my folks in Madison there. We got Shuwaski Young here. Absolutely. Look, it's my mission. God put this on me, and I'm not saying that because they're a paid advertiser. I was doing this. I was plugging these guys for free long before they became an advertiser because I'm so fired up about what testosterone has done for me and what it's done for the people that I consider my friends, close friends, and family. I think every man needs to go get checked, just like they need to get checked for their prostates and all that good stuff. Need to go get your testosterone levels checked. Your body quits making testosterone. There's no other way to get it. You got to start doing therapy. You can eat all the protein and stuff in the world. That's great. But when your body quits making it, you need to regenerate it somehow or another. And replacement therapy is affordable and easy. And man, it makes a difference. Gosh, it makes a difference. All right. Shuwaski, picking back up where we left off, you were talking about how Malcolm X and Dr. King were very conservative at heart. And would not be co-signing on a lot of this nonsense like Sharpton and some of these other guys are today. Kind of pick you back up there.
Sure. And I say that, just very quickly, for Father's Day was yesterday, as we, talked about when we came in this segment. Just yesterday, I took my daughter to, my alma mater, Jackson State University yesterday. Hopefully she'll end up there versus, hopefully she'll end up there versus Stanford. Or Yale or something. But, and after that, I took over to the Mississippi Two Museums and the Mississippi Civil Rights Museum. It's free on Sunday, for those folks who don't know that.
I didn't know that.
It's free on Sunday, 11 to 5. So, it was a great moment her first time going there for us to, look at, what our leaders of yesterday were actually like and how we were able to get so much stuff done. And I said all of that to go back to what I was talking about. And that is today that, I just feel like so many Democrat leaders, especially here in Mississippi, and they all know my feelings. They all know what I said. They all know that, I didn't pull punches when I said it. And, of course, I challenged all of them. I don't think either one of them would be on the debate stage with me. And that is the fact that because they know that they have strayed away from what the legacy was of true giants like Dr. King and Malcolm X because of what they're talking about today. Those men pushed a system where, we challenged the system with courage. And we also did so with self-determination and moral discipline, our own economic empowerment. And we also pushed the importance of strong families and strong communities, but instead, of doing that today, what we see them doing are pushing a narrative that's actually going to harm our community, and not only harm our community, but harm our state and harm our country. And that's how I feel about it. So instead of encouraging things like, responsibility and education or entrepreneurship, and really pushing our faith, and getting us away from victimhood and division, we're, crippling our own communities by, pushing just poverty, broken family, crime, undereducation, and joblessness mindset, and blaming someone else for that. It's not the man's fault. We have to be able to lift our own selves up, and do our own work and acknowledge when we're wrong, no different than these protesters that you're seeing in the streets around the country right now. Look, I'd love to be talking about economic progress and wealth building and things like that, but we also have to talk about who's actually leading our communities, who's actually instilling these victimhood and division fears within the people, making them feel like the civil rights movement is still going on. That's one of my biggest pushbacks against Benny Thompson. He wants the people of Mississippi and the black community to still feel like it's 1950, 40, and 1960, as if, we have not progressed as a state and as a country. For God's sake, he sits in the United States Congress because of it. And I think that's where we are today. And I want to be able to see us move to what our true values are that you actually talked about when I was listening before, I came on, of how conservative we actually are in the black church. And, I would love to, get a letter out, to most of the black leadership in Mississippi, because I've challenged them on this point, that we have gotten away from what our generational values have been that have gotten us to the place that we are today as a black community and as a community as a whole. And one of the things I think that's most important is, we're moving to this place where, we're getting away from what the church actually taught us as well, too. Because I say this to anyone that's listening, especially black folks, especially black leaders out there. You can go tell them that I said it, and that's fine. And that is, since when have we approved of so many single-parent households? Over 70% of kids born in this country in the black community are with single-parent households. And since when have we been so upholding of unplanned pregnancies or abortions without accountability? And since when has our community ever been overwhelmingly supportive of, and I don't want to get in trouble for this, but, it is what it is. I'm going to speak the truth of supporting what it is in transgender or homosexual behavior and lifestyles in our community that we know that is not the traditional way in which we believe and think. And there was a time when if you decided that you want to have an unplanned pregnancy or you want to live a non-traditional lifestyle, they had a place for you in the church. It was on the back bench. You weren't allowed to sing in the choir stand. You weren't allowed to just hold up and say that's how we should be living our lives. And I think that's what we've gotten away from. And it even goes to something of the highest level of disrespect where we're talking about allowing, men to play in women's sports or men being transgender in our own girls' bathroom and wives' bathrooms and things of that nature. It's just absolutely ludicrous. And I think that we have become where we are living in such a time where such behavior is not going to be honored anymore. And we have to be able to get away from that. We got to get back to what the church is teaching us. We got to have this mindset of going in the right direction as God has taught us, and we have to be able to hold up for our own self-determination. And I don't think leaders in the Democratic Party and across the country are willing to do that at this particular point.
Man, it's such a breath of fresh air to hear you say those things. I was in my first hour, I was saying the exact same things about having grown up in Jackson, and I know I've talked about this a lot, but I think it's so important to drive the point home every time we get the opportunity that I know that this wool that's been pulled over black America's eyes with the Democrat Party in its current agenda and narratives does not represent the black culture that I grew up being a part of and living in, with Christianity and faith and all this abortion nonsense and all this homosexual stuff and just all of these anti-Christian things that are constantly being thrown out by the Democrat Party, and the black demographic just blindly following it. I'm like, there's no way that Big Mama knows what they're doing in Washington, D.C. and is co-signing on that. And I think that trickles down to these local politicians who are basically out there in the community lying to Big Mama and to people and putting up a fake in the front, as we say. And because there's no way that Big Mama knows that her vote is backing what's going on. And we got to get away. As conservatives, I guess my point being, that's why I'm so thankful that you're a part of this party now. As conservatives, you know, one of the things I've heard a lot, and we talked about this last time you were on, is, you know, you'll get into black neighborhoods or on the campuses of historically black universities. And I know Rance has been doing this, going and setting up, and Rance tells me the main thing he hears is, this is the first time I've ever seen a Republican here. We haven't been out in the communities doing what the Democrats have been doing. We haven't been doing the hand-to-hand combat, as I call it, like we talked about last time, how y'all were able to flip Philadelphia and Neshoba County like y'all did. It's getting out and talking to people and having real conversations and letting them know that the Republican Party ain't a bunch of white guys running around in hoods. That was the Democrats. You know, that we actually stand for the same things. We want smaller government. We want to put Christ first. We don't want to kill babies. You know, we are way more lined up culturally and spiritually and, frankly, financially than the Democrats ever could be. I mean, there's no way that even if you want to take it to the Section 8, the welfare stuff, there's no way that the black people who are supporting that would be supporting all that money being sent over to Ukraine and all these other places when it could be used here in America to give people a hand up, not a handout.
Well, roger that, 100%. And I think that is where we are right now, is having to go into these communities, particularly the black community, and bring this gospel, you know, because one of the things that's most important for us to understand is that, you know, we saw what the New Deal in 1968 did to the black community. We saw the increase from Section 8 housing and what that did to crime and what that did to increase the likelihood of single parents in the home. Heck, they had to have no man in the house in order to even get that funding. And that is a very sensitive conversation within the black community, because it somehow will assign blame. But we're not in a place of blame right now. But we are in a place of, what is it going to take for us to be able to get to the place where we need to be economically, politically, and also socially in this country. And we have to be able to get away from listening to just rap music and rap artists to think that they're somehow our leaders, or basketball players or football players somehow they're our leaders. Kudos to them, you know, but you're talking about a very small minutia of people coming out of high school that are good, are actually going to make it in pro. You got to have something else that they're able to lean on. But I want to say this point here before we have to get to a break. Look, what we can do in Mississippi is this. I know for a fact that there are a lot of, you know, people across our state who are not black, that are white, and also in the other parts of our state that are non-white and also conservative, that say, look, they want to elect a black conservative to statewide office. They want to elect someone who's black to our office, you know, in the state. And that it is a problem that they see that we don't have black representation at the state level. But they're not going to put a Democrat there. Why are they not going to put a Democrat there? Because they don't represent Mississippi values. Why did I leave the Democratic Party? Because it didn't represent how I was raised in East Central Mississippi. And it took me leaving Mississippi and going out working in the higher echelons of our party to understand that that's not our party. That's the Democrats' party. That's not the Mississippi way I was brought up and taught in Mississippi, and that's something I didn't want to be a part of. And we have to be able to take that message to the black community in Mississippi and let them know that there is a place for them and that they are welcome. And I think that's something that we're going to be able to see in the months and years to come.
Shuwaski Young, my brother, thank you so much for taking the time this morning. I could sit here and talk for another 2 hours with you. We'll save some.
I got to get that lunch with you, man.
Look, whenever you're in Jackson, just let me know. Anywhere in the surrounding area, I'm game. I'm down like 4 flats, as I like to say. Let's get together, have lunch soon. I got another guy's number I'm going to shoot. A buddy of mine just texted you. He wants to have you as a guest on his show. I'm going to link y'all up. Shuwaski Young.
Sure, I appreciate it.
Thank you for taking the time this morning, man. Stay blessed, and we'll see you here soon.
Hey, God bless you all. God bless you, Clay. Thanks so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Amen, brother. Take it easy.
You bet. Bye-bye.
Bye. Shuwaski Young on the Mazda Jackson phone line. A lot to unpack there. We'll be right back on the Clay Edwards Show. We got a whole nother hour to go this morning. It's a 3-hour show. We got Jamie Creel, Shelter Insurance Agent, coming up in hour 3. Going to sit in with us, talk all things life, love, and business, and everything else. We'll be right back. Welcome back in to the Clay Edwards Show here live on WYAB, streaming worldwide on Facebook, X, YouTube, and Rumble. Just search Save JXN and we'll be there. Of course, if you miss any of it, you can go back and watch the not unedited. It'd be actually very edited. We edit out the commercial breaks and load up the audio only podcast for your listening enjoyment. Clip it up into segments, all that good stuff. When it fits, we clip it up into segments. Sometimes it's just long form's the best way to serve it. But you can go search Clay Edwards Show on Apple, Spotify, Podbean, Amazon, all them places that have podcast, and it will be there for your enjoyment. I want to thank Big Head for swinging by and dropping me off a book. If you're watching online, you can see it there. It's the Moving Beyond the COVID-19 Lies, Restoring Health and Hope for Humanity. It's a book by Dr. Brian Artis, who also has a Rumble channel with a lot of stuff like that in there. So check that out. Something Big Head's very, very passionate about, and he listens to this show every day and thought enough of me to drop off a book. So I want to make sure that I pass that information along to you guys, and maybe that's something that is important to you, and you can swing by and check that out. I've got here in the studio with me, he's going to be here for hour 3 this morning. I've got My Shelter insurance agent, but hey, he's more than just an agent sitting across from me. We'll save Jamie for the next hour. Real quick, let me tell you guys, you need to get out. I know you're hungry today. You need to get over to El Patrio Mexican Grill and Cantina right there in Flowood, in front of Dogwood, or in Crossgates right there on Highway 80 or West Government Street, right across from the library there, right next to Bop's. Easy to find. Enjoy some great, authentic Mexican food, or a little Tex-Mex as well. You know, I love the fajitas. I love the birria tacos or quesadillas. They got a really good hamburger, too. You don't really think of Mexican joints and hamburgers, but, man, they got a fine. They use a good bun, a good bun. I think it's called a Kaiser roll or something like that. I always get them confused, all these specialty buns now. But they got a really good one there. And look, at lunchtime today, you can get in and out of there for less than $10 if you're not drinking adult beverages. So you can't beat that. Why go to fast food? You can barely eat fast food for $10. Go sit down and get some fajitas for $10 at El Patrio. Come back in the evening time. Be sure to bring your big group. They can handle all your birthday parties and more. Quick notice, they don't need reservations. They help, obviously, but show up with 20 people, they're going to find a place for you. They're so efficient. I'll tell you, people who run Mexican restaurants should run our government. That's who Elon should have recruited to run Doge, or who Trump should recruit to run Doge, is somebody who runs a Mexican restaurant. They are efficient and know how to save money while making money. Anyway, El Patrio Grill and Cantina. I want to thank Shuwaski Young for coming on. I was telling the people on the live stream during the break there that a lot of y'all out there might not quite understand the importance of having a Shuwaski Young on our team now. A guy that has been in the highest echelons of Democrat government and policymaking. He worked in the Obama White House. He was boots on ground. He knows how to organize protests. He knows how to get in the black community and knock on doors and get our message across. And that is what, it was his hard work, and it was Jamie Peavy's hard work and some others that flipped Philadelphia, Neshoba County, from Democrat to Republican in this last election a few weeks ago. They did a phenomenal job because they got out there the old school way and they knocked on doors. And that has been something that the Conservative Party has been missing when it comes to getting out in the black community. It's one thing to go knock on doors as a Republican in downtown Brandon, in Reunion, in Lake Caroline, in Annandale. It's a whole nother thing to go knocking on doors in these majority black areas as a conservative. In Sub 1, Sub 2, the Queens, all these other places, frankly, anywhere in Hinds County for that matter. Getting our message across. I mean, like I said, my buddy Rance Bilbo works for the Mississippi GOP, goes and sets up the tent at all these political events at different colleges. And when he goes to JSU, one of the things he hears more than anything is, man, it's the first time I've seen a Republican or met a Republican. You know, it's like we've just chalked these places up to being lost causes. And I'm not saying there maybe not some lost causes there. Don't get me wrong. They about like a Democrat coming knocking on my door. But we if you're not in the game, you can't win it. That's why I'm not leaving any of these social media platforms. if you're not on the field, you can't win the game. If you're not in the battle, you can't win the war. We at least got to fight and try to win, because I think our ideas are better than their ideas. And I think the marketplace of ideas will handle the rest. That's why I don't believe in censorship. I believe everybody should be able to spew their ideas, spew their hate, whatever, and let the marketplace of ideas decide who wins, who loses. And if we have better ideas, we have better culture, we damn sure have better culture. And all we got to do is have the right person, the right people relaying our message to the people that need to hear it. And we will win. And we got guys like Shuwaski doing that. All right, we'll be right back to land the plane for hour one. Coming up at 9:07. We got a whole another hour. We got 3 hours today with Jamie Creel, Shelter Insurance Agent. A bit of a heavy hitter show, but not exactly. This is the Clay Edwards Show. We'll be right back. That's life in the big city sometimes. Y'all don't go anywhere. We got a whole nother hour to go. I'm not going to kill the stream today. We're going to rock and roll with Jamie Creel, Shelter Insurance Agent, my personal insurance agent, but we're going to keep it political for a while. We're going to talk a little business too, mix it up some. We're not exactly doing the heavy hitter show today. I didn't schedule a guest. Actually, I don't have any more scheduled. I need to schedule some guests for the heavy hitter show. I enjoy that, but I also don't like bludgeoning anything to death either. I like to do what feels natural, and I wasn't feeling it this week, so I didn't schedule a guest. But we still going to talk for 3 hours. There's plenty to talk about. Keep your comments coming in. Don't go anywhere. I'll see you guys back here in 6 minutes on WYAB and online wherever you are watching. Boom goes the dynamite. It's hour 3 of the Clay Edwards Show here live on WYAB, streaming worldwide, WYAB.com, as well as the TuneIn app and Alexa. Just search WYAB. Also streaming worldwide at Save JXN on Facebook, X, YouTube, and Rumble. You can check us out there. I've got a guest here in the studio. You may see that strapping-looking young fella over there in that pinkish, peach, orange, yellow Hawaiian shirt. That is Shelter Insurance Agent Extraordinaire, businessman extraordinaire, Mr. Jamie Creel. Jamie, good morning.
Good morning to you, sir.
How are you?
Great to see. I'm doing very well. About 31 pounds down and keep moving on, man. I tell you what, I got a new lease on life, and I tell you, I'm feeling good. My energy's good, and business is good, and Lord has blessed me, man.
Well, it's apropos that you're here on a Men's Health Monday, and we're just kind of chopping it up with Jamie. We'll say this segment is brought to you by Shelter Insurance Agent Jamie Creel. Jamie, tell folks what you can do, why folks should choose Jamie Creel to be their insurance agent and more.
Well, I mean, you said it. You probably gave me the best plug. And people are like, yeah, it's too good to be true. But one of the things, we don't have customers, we have clients. I mean, that's first and foremost. And it doesn't matter if you need insurance, you need a vehicle, you need some type of service done at your house. My job and the people that are in my agency, we take a lot of pride in providing those services for you to take the headache and the stress out of any situation. I'm telling you, people look at insurance and they think insurance is insurance, and it's just simply not that. And so one of the things that we try to do a little different than everybody else is we help get those services for you. We have built up the connections and the partnerships with other folks to help get things done. And I'm telling you, it's really rewarding to me as an agent and everybody in my office when you are able to help someone outside of the area of insurance. But, insurance has really blessed me in many ways. And, I think the Lord puts you here to develop relationships with people, and that's first and foremost. I mean, every client that I have, they have my cell phone number, or they will get my cell phone number. It's not a 8 to 5 deal. It's 24/7 with us, and everybody in my office feels that way. From Tom, Carolyn feels the same way. I mean, we're all have the servant's mentality to do whatever we need to do to make sure the process runs smooth and people get taken care of. We may not be the cheapest all the time, but I simply feel that we are the best.
It's not always about saving money. I mean, that obviously helps, and you want to be able to save money, but you don't want to save money at the detriment of service and quality either.
Oh, and I mean, so that's what, the calls we get, and the only advertisement that we do, we advertise on your show, and there's one other place that we do it. I just don't believe in a whole lot of advertising. Early on in insurance, I got defrauded a lot. Just to be honest, just taking cold calls into the office. We don't do that anymore. So if you're not referred into our agency, then we pretty much aren't going to fool with you. And so that has saved me a lot of trouble and headache. So if you refer somebody to me, I can go back and say, hey, Clay, you referred this clown or whatever, But I mean, now it immediately, it's like in the car business. When you meet somebody, you try to make that connection and you get that trust level. And that's kind of what we're doing. So the referral business is I mean, we get anywhere from, we probably quote 50 policies a month on minimum just from referral business.
That's good stuff there. That's good stuff. Well, look, I take my referrals very seriously. I won't mention the names because these are still two people I deal with on a daily basis in one form, fashion, or another. But I linked two guys up and put my word behind somebody that they were going to do the right thing by somebody, and they didn't. And it really, I'm just going to say it pissed me off. Mm-hmm. And I take my word. My referral is my word, and I take that seriously. And if I refer you to somebody and link some people up on the business side of things, and you screw them over, I don't forget that. And I'm only, it's like that's like my credit. That's my social credit is my word. Like social credit's a real thing, not the Chinese social credit score type stuff that they're trying to implement on Americans and conservatives, and frankly on Democrats too. But like my social credit in this community, I ain't gonna die with the most money. I'm not gonna win that race, but my word means something to me. And it's how I've been able to overcome a bad past and making bad decisions and all that is trying to do right by people moving forward. And a referral is serious to me. I mean, like, you see the look in my eyes right now.
Yeah,
I take this seriously.
Yep.
And I expect you to do the same thing. If you refer somebody to me, you're co-signing on it. That's why there's a lot of times online now I see people ask for referrals, and I just bow out of it. I don't give them because I'm not 100% sure I got somebody for that. Because you're more than an insurance agent. I'm a facilitator.
Absolutely.
I take pride in my referrals. If I bring on an advertiser and they do my customer, because these listeners are my customers.
That's right.
If they do my customers wrong, I take it personal. That we had a guy, I won't go into it, we had a guy that, sold somebody at this radio station something that ended up being a bad deal. And I'm still mad about it. He's got charges he's going to have to deal with. But I vet these advertisers way more than I used to. I wasn't in a position to be able to initially, to really, if somebody wanted to spend money, you kind of take it,
right.
when you're getting up and going. Now that we established and the platform's gotten bigger, it's two things. The money matters, no matter what people say. It is about the money. And then B, reputation matters. And reputation matters more than the money, because if you get your reputation, the money will come. And these people ain't going to take care of my customers. I don't want them on the show.
Right.
Just period. If all money ain't good money. That's real talk.
And that's 100% true. I mean, so when you're giving out a referral, you're stamping your name on it. And you may run into an outlier every now and then that may mess you up, and hopefully you can get forgiveness. But, there are people that I refer, there are people that are referred to me, and it's a chain that doesn't need to be broken, because that's what makes the world go round.
And sometimes, people will just butt heads. They may have it may not work out, but that doesn't mean that either one's a bad person.
Right.
There's different situations,
yep.
Especially when you get into the higher ends of business and stuff, where maybe just couldn't come to a deal. That's not people doing each other wrong. That's just not being able to come to a deal. So just because I refer to somebody, it doesn't mean you got to buy a car from them.
Right.
It doesn't mean they had to sell you something, or a house, or whatever the case may be, rent property to, sell property. Not being able to come to a deal ain't the same thing as doing bad business.
No, people come with bad intent too.
Mm-hmm.
If you're coming with bad intent, that's what you're referring to. They knew intentionally that somebody was going to get screwed down the road, man. So if you're both if you can't get it to reach a deal based on one person being more headstrong than the other, and they want maybe a little more than 50%
mm-hmm.
of the deal, I can see, and that's not your fault. I mean, you put them together, you did everything you're supposed to do, and But that's the thing. And you know this from being back in your days of sales. Now, you and I may disagree. I've always, you can sell whatever you believe in. Okay. If you don't believe in it, you can't sell it. You know, I mean, you know, when I was in the car business, I felt like I represented the best line of vehicles that there were. You know, Shelter has provided
Toyota, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
I'm a Toyota guy. I mean, the only negative about selling Toyotas is, you know, their customers or clients only buy cars every 10 years, you know, because they last so long. You know,
you don't get the repeats, you get the referrals.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
That's exactly right. And when you're doing that, like I told you before, you know, I sold over 300 brand new cars my first year in the car business. That's a ton for somebody that doesn't have
That's 25 a month ish.
Yeah. I mean, they called me One A Day Jay. That was my nickname in the car business, you know, and you know, I set my own hours, this, that, and the other. But when I got to Shelter, it was a company that I can get behind. We just got voted number one again on Forbes number one auto, and we've been 7 out of the last 9 years been number one with J.D. Power. And so you can get behind a company that you know is going to take care of claims, and I know people in my office are going to take care of their clients. Tom does a great job handling people around Florida, you know, former Tri-County headmaster, Delta State administrator, and he just does an amazing job. And, you know, when Carolyn Smith came on with us, you know, there's not a door she can't get into. She can get into more doors than I can, obviously for different reasons, you know. But I mean, her confidence level in what she's done and brought to the table in the last 2 months has been off the charts. I mean, she can go out there, strum up a conversation with people, and just make a decision right then and there if that's somebody that we're going to be able to trust to insure within our book of business.
I like it, man. Just good folks. Good folks. Being local matters. Having that network of Shelter obviously makes a huge difference of what they provide. And I've been happy since I switched over. Hopefully I never have to use you for anything other than write it, you know, that automatic draft come out every month. But just knowing that I got you there when I need you, and the way that you came on board, not the show, but the way you became my agent in a time of duress for me. And it was the easiest thing that I did. It was you and my guy that I buy my cars from. You know, I didn't even have to show up. All I had to do at the dealership was show up, pick up the vehicle, and all I had to do with you was nothing. Well, I think I did have to walk down to sign something, but I mean, other than that, it was boom, boom. Here's my stuff. Made it really, really easy. And for me, time is very important. I don't have a whole lot of free time. When I do, I don't want to do it doing stuff like that. Nor does anybody else. You know, and being able to expedite things and know it's done right and trust that it's done right make a big difference.
Yeah, and we can get it to you. You know, we have 2 offices. We have the one in Ridgeland. We have the one in Flora. Well, in Ridgeland, we're over there at the Trace Station, you know, where Cazadores and, you know, Fleet Feet and all those places are.
What's the name of that shopping center?
Trace Station.
Trace Station.
Yeah.
I never know the name of it when I try to tell people where it's at. I'm like, man, right over there by Fleet Feet, and I couldn't remember the name of the Mexican restaurant. Yeah. It's not El Patrillo, so I'm not obligated to remember it.
That's right. I understand. And, you know, our landlord over there, Hugh Johnson, he's been really good to us. Taking care of us and this, that, and the other. But over there, people are so transient, man. You know, people in Madison, like I'll have more people coming to the office in Flora. And
it's like the 047 side of the reservoir, or that part of Rankin, that part of Brandon.
That's correct.
It's way more transient than Crossgates.
Yes. It's unbelievable. You know, people in Madison, people in Ridgeland, you know, they're too busy to stop by for 10, 15, 20 minutes to take care of what they need. People in Flora, I mean, we'll have 40, 50 people in and out of that door every week. And, you know, that's
funny how that works, isn't it?
It is. It's small town America, and where handshakes still matter. Not that Madison, you know, the handshake doesn't matter, because I'll go to people's homes.
Sure.
You know, I'm not scared to pull up somewhere or you know, and go somewhere. But, you know, we've tried to just take a completely different approach to insurance. And
I think I'll make a good insurance agent when I decide to get back into sales.
Absolutely.
Well, not that I haven't left sales. I'm the product now, but I think I've been thinking about dabbling into something else. Well, I don't dabble into anything. I go all in or nothing at all. But
I'll take you, Clay, in a heartbeat. Just remember one thing when you do. You cannot break rules when necessary. And no breaking rules in the insurance business, sir.
Industry. Now, the only rules I break are what comes out of my mouth. You know, there is no limitations. I break all the traditional norms on what's supposed to be acceptable to be talked about in this modern age. All right, look, we've got Shelter Insurance Agent Extraordinaire, but he's more than just an agent. He's a facilitator. That is a compliment. I've thought about putting that on my business cards. I know I've jokingly told you that, and I tell Jamie all the time, like, he is the other true facilitator that I know. I mean, he's got a job, which is Shelter Insurance Agent, and I've got a job, which is talk radio host and media personality, whatever it is I do, influencer. I hate that term. I like facilitator. I like knowing that I know a guy. I'm the I knows a guy.
That's right.
As is Jamie. And between the two of us, I think with 6 degrees of separation, we could probably I know a guy all the way to the White House.
Oh, I can get you straight there. Absolutely. Absolutely.
I bet you we could get ourselves to the White House through the I know a guy stuff between the two of us. Pretty extraordinary if you think about it. The other guy that I think would fit right in is Jimmy Nichols. Did you know Jimmy?
I do not.
Jimmy works for Michael Guest.
Okay.
He's his field rep for a certain district, and he's retired MBN and law enforcement and all that stuff. He's just a rock solid human being.
I need to get to meet Jimmy.
And Jimmy is a facilitator.
You facilitate that, my man. Let me get hooked up with Jimmy. I'd love to meet him.
Have you not ever been to a Grip and Grin?
Yeah, I've been to a Grip. Yes, I have.
Mama Hamill's first Wednesday of every month. Bruce Bartley does.
No, I've never been to that. And they do a lot of these vendors send us over there as insurance agents to go, eat at Mama Hamill's. I'm trying to stay away from Mama Hamill's as good.
So what this is it's a political powwow.
Okay.
Once a month. Just all it's conservative leaning, obviously, but everybody's welcome. They always have a politician or somebody knee deep in politics as a speaker. They've had the governor. I mean, as high ranking as it gets. And Bruce does a really good job of bringing in great guests to speak at this thing. And they have that back room at Mama Hamill's, that meeting space, private room.
Right.
I mean, I've been in there. There's been 250 or so people. I mean,
wow.
Packed. It was the governor. Tate spoke, I think, the week of the election, maybe of his election. Well, that was on a Wednesday. Anyway, I digress. It's the place to be. The first Wednesday of every month in the political circle.
Gotcha.
And the Shelter Insurance Agent needs to be there rubbing some elbows, but that's the I know a guy place.
That's right.
It's the I know a guy meeting of the month. So if you know a guy, you need to go there. It's where all the I know a guys go. And Jimmy's like the main I know a guy. Anyway, I'm kidding around here a little bit, but we'll take you to the next one. Put it on your calendar, the first Wednesday of the month, first Wednesday of July. We're going to Grip and Grin together. All right, I got Jamie Creel with me. We're going to pull back from the business side of things, and we're going to get into some of the stuff that went on over the weekend. And I want to play some clips I've got, and we're just going to have fun with a guest here in the studio. My insurance agent. He should be your insurance agent if he's not. Jamie Creel, Shelter Insurance. We'll be right back in the Men's Health and Women's Wellness Studio here on a Men's Health Monday on the Clay Edwards Show. 3 full hours today, action-packed. We'll be right back. Welcome back in to the Clay Edwards Show. It's a special hour 3 of the show today. We're getting back on the video stream here. I went to X and my computer froze up, so I know y'all can hear me, but you can't see me. That's fine. Sometimes I'm better to be heard, not seen anyway. We've got Jamie Creel here in the Men's Health and Women's Wellness Studios. This segment brought to you by our friends over at Tri-County Tree Service, another great locally owned, locally operated business by a fellow patriot. You talk about vetting these advertisers before we bring them on the show nowadays. This is a great example of somebody that didn't need to be vetted. I inherited Tri-County from Jameson when he chose to go another direction, and couldn't be happier to have this guy to be representing this brand. I mean, this guy, Jamie, we talk a lot about men just being drawn to, attracted to, no homo, attracted to other men that just drip testosterone alphas. You just know it.
Yeah.
And, all alphas aren't barking. Some people are silent. You can be a silent alpha too. You don't have to be a type A personality to be an alpha. They're not the same thing. They don't have to be. Russ Borland, it's a good dude you want in your foxhole if the crap hits the fan. Really, I think most guys that fight trees for a living,
oh, yeah,
you probably want those guys on your team.
You bet.
You know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
If you can wrestle a tree, you can roll with Clay Edwards, just to be honest about it. And he's that kind of guy, puts service, integrity, doing things the right way up front, and he's going to take care of you. I don't have to – you know what you need – I don't have to tell you all the different things a tree service does. You know what the hell they do. They cut down trees. They clean up trees. They take care of all that stuff. Maybe they do a few things that'll surprise you. Reach out to them. Ask them. Give them a call today at 601-940-5499. 601-940-5499. Speaking proper fluent English there so everybody understands what I'm saying. I don't do any ebonics because I am prone to do so. 940-5499. That's how I talk if I'm not trying to be proper. But it's 601-940-5499. That's Russ Borland, Tri-County Tree Service. He's one of us. Get out there and let him come take care of you. Any of your tree service needs. Real quick, Jamie, do you enjoy a good cigar?
I hope my wife and kids aren't listening. Yes, I do. Can I tell you a quick story?
Please.
Okay, so there's a good friend of mine. Every relationship I've ever had in my life I've met through the sport of baseball. And so I was coaching this team. This was back in the 90s. And this guy, his name is Jay McKee. He was a very, very good mentor of mine, very sharp baseball guy. And he would always come pick me up 5 hours before game time, and say, hey, we got to get there early. I was like, how much early we need to get there?
Yeah.
And I remember him taking me to a exquisite steak place, and then he had these cigars after we ate the steak. And then he gave me the cigar, and I'm going to tell you, it knocked me absolutely off my feet. And I was like, good gosh, I cannot believe how the feeling I had. And I know that's maybe weak or whatever, but I mean, I was like, I felt, I don't know. I didn't feel like I could drive a vehicle, if that makes any sense. I know that sounds
crazy. High, man.
Yeah.
If you inhale.
Well, here's the funny part about it, Clay. So he said, hey, you enjoy that? I said, yeah, man, this is, I feel good. And I don't like the aftertaste that it leaves in your mouth for days. But so the next time he took me to the smoke shop where he had gotten these cigars. And, I'm just coming straight out of college. I really don't have a job yet. Okay.
Yeah.
And so he goes over there and we get 5 cigars and they put them up on the counter, and the bill, and this was in the 90s now, the bill was $290 something. I'm like, he said, it's on you this time. I'm like, what the hell? I had never been taken back by something in my life. Luckily, I had a bank card with me because I certainly didn't have the cash to pay for it, but I could not believe the cost of a quality cigar.
What kind was it, a Perdomo or something like that? Perdomo, I don't even know how to pronounce all of them.
Man, I want to say it was something, a Churchill. Does that
sounds right? Don't get me to line.
Yeah, don't get me either. But
well, we've got a business that's coming to the area, and we're helping plug their grand opening. And I had the pleasure of getting a tour before they open. Their grand opening is this Saturday.
Okay.
What is that? The 21st. We got our
21st. Yes.
21st. This Saturday. Right over there at Highland Village, right next to it, right above is it the Rogue? Is that fancy gentleman's clothing store?
Yep.
Right above the Rogue, or behind it and above it.
Okay.
There's an awesome new cigar company opening up. It's a shop. You can go buy cigars, but it's a club. When I say a club, I don't mean like a nightclub, but it is what you think when you think like a gentleman's private club. No, I don't mean like a strip club. I want to make sure I'm getting this across right, because I want to articulate it properly here. It's 3 stories. It's called Spring Street Cigar Company. And they got this will be their 10th location throughout Mississippi.
Wow.
This is the biggest market they've been in. They've been in smaller markets, college towns, North Mississippi, Kosciuszko, places like that. And they go in and they're kind of like the thing to do. You know, it's where gentlemen hang out. When I say gentlemen's club, it's a cool place. They have a downstairs full bar. It's not resort status, but they also don't have to have food. They're able to get a law pass where they could open up without being resort status, or be able to basically be resort status outside of a resort status area, if that makes sense. They got liquor without having to have food. It's got a huge balcony right above the road that overlooks I-55, and you can see St. Dominic's down there. It's 3 stories. They got a big bar on the first floor when you walk in, big center bar, flat screen TVs everywhere.
Wow.
Then upstairs on the second floor, you have a cool atrium area that looks down like an overlook. You look down over the back of the bar. It looks really cool. I took a couple pictures. I may post them. And then I think it's on the second floor, maybe the third, you've got a private members-only club or area or whatever. Super swanky, super cool. And then you have the balcony. You got a third floor. Man, this place, millions of dollars put into this deal. It's right, it's right over there where the nukes and all that is.
I know exactly where you're talking about.
Their grand opens this Saturday. Guys, you just need to go see this with your own eyes. And I'm shocked that they built it anywhere around here. I mean, it's just that kind of, it's like something you see like in New York or Chicago, like a big city. I mean, they have gone all in. They've got all your favorite cigar brands. They are open. So, I mean, you can go by there, but the grand opening is this Saturday. And I'm just got their Facebook page pulled up here on Fridays. They do Fuente Fridays, or it was on Friday, June 13th from 1 to 6. They had a Fuente deal going on. It looks like Fridays or Fuente Friday. You buy 5 Fuente cigars, you get a free beer. They had a Father's Day special. Just go check out their Facebook page, guys. Spring Street Cigars Jackson, and it's got a bunch of cool stuff there. And I'm just telling you, it's definitely Mississippi's premier cigar lounge. Full bar, full cocktails, the balcony. You just need to go check this place out. I'm not doing it justice. I was blown away that I was in there. It looks like something you would see in a movie where like some high profile like Wall Street business guys are working some deal or something, like off the clock kind of thing. There's going to be a lot of deals handled at this place. A lot of business is going to get done. This is somewhere if you take you got somebody coming in from out of town on business or whatever, take them there. Or hey, just you and the boys want to go watch a football game somewhere come fall, and you don't want all that riffraff that comes with your typical sports bar. This is going to be the place. It is open to the public, but they do have their members only area. And I don't even smoke cigars. Hey, I'm thinking about starting. At this point in life, I could probably start smoking cigarettes now. To be honest, I think I'll outlive. I think I'll outlive the. I don't think the cancer will be able to catch me in time. I'm looking to pick up a bad habit or two. And I'm kidding, not really.
Oh Lord.
Anyway, check them out, man. I didn't mean to do a whole segment about the cigar stuff, man, but this thing is really cool. Y'all need to go check it out. It's Spring Street Cigar Company. It's not company. Just Spring Street Cigars, Jackson, Miss, and super cool. Grand opening is this Saturday, June 21st. They got all kind of stuff going on. Looks like, I can't pronounce a lot of these cigar brands. But,
I get it. Will it be one of those clubs, Facebook. Clay, that what happens here stays here, kind of like Vegas type deal? I mean, I would assume that the exclusive membership.
They got the Rocky Patels. I'm familiar with that.
Right.
They've got the Victory cigars. They got a lot of draft beer. I'm a draft beer guy. They've got on draft. They've got garage beer. They've got Wiseacre. Looks like Grateful Dead. Ghost in the Machine. They got several Fertile Grounds. It's going to be, obviously whiskey goes great with cigars. They've got a great whiskey bar to go with all of it. Anyhow, a Spring Street Cigars grand opening this Saturday right there. And I think part of it was the Rogue. I think the Rogue maybe downsized. So this is right there. If you know where the Rogue and Nukes is at Highland Village there, you know where Spring Street Cigars is. The balcony is just worth the price of admission in and of itself. No cover charge. But if there was, the balcony would be the spot. They've also got this cool little mezzanine balcony inside up on the second floor, I think. Yeah. And it's really cool. The furniture, all plush, leather, comfortable. This isn't any of that petite little ultra lounge type stuff.
Right.
This is grown man furniture, big plush leather, double cushions, attractive staff, the whole 9 yards. You're not going to regret it. We'll be right back on the Clay Edwards Show with Jamie Creel. We got another 20 or so minutes we can go. Who knows what we'll dig out, talk about.
That's right, buddy.
Y'all don't go anywhere. It's a Men's Health Monday in the Men's Health and Women's Wellness Studios. Jamie Creel, Shelter, Insurance Agent Extraordinaire, and Clay Edwards. Clay looking to pick up some bad habits. Edwards. We'll be right back. Welcome back in to the Clay Edwards Show. That seemed like a very quick commercial break there. We got Jamie Creel here in the Men's Health and Women's Wellness Studio with me. This segment, real quick, brought to you by our friends over at Lakeland Glass and Tint. Swing by, see them today for all your automotive, home, or business window tinting needs, all your vehicle wrap needs. That's right. Jamie Creel could turn his Toyota Camry into a rolling billboard over at Lakeland Glass and Tint with Shelter insurance all over it, have it looking like a NASCAR. That's actually not a bad idea. Anyway, Jamie could accomplish that at Lakeland Glass and Tint if he so chose to. And so can you. Reach out to him today. Let him get you a free quote at lakelandglassandtint.com. Don't forget, they also do ceramic coating. That is the ultimate protection for your paint's clear coat. For your vehicle's clear coat. Well, technically it is your paint's clear coat, but it's the ultimate protection for your vehicle's paint and clear coat. They use Excel. Is it Excel? I feel like that's right. Anyway, they use top of the line. I'm just drawing a blank here. I think it's Excel. Ceramic coatings, window tint, and more. Check them out today. LakelandGlassandTint.com. Give them a call. 601-946-1000. A1 since day one sponsor of this show, Lakeland Glass and Tint. Never missed a payment or a day. Love those guys. Do great business. So, all right, let's see here. Oh, yeah, very nice. Was that a meme with my head on it?
Yeah. Do you know that person?
I do not. Do you?
Shanae Jenkins.
Oh, God. That is Lance Stevens' daughter, who is my stalker, and Lance is a lawyer here in town. She's been harassing me a good bit online, but neither here nor there. She has a couple fake profiles. We had to call her out last week. She said some very foul, disgusting things about me and my father on Facebook yesterday. I have the screenshots. I plan on addressing it with her father later today, as a matter of fact.
I understand.
So good morning to Natalie Stevens out there on the internet, a.k.a. Shanae Jenkins or Saul Goodman or whatever name she is parading around in as this morning on the internet. But hey, neither here nor there. I'm glad to know that I have an effect on people, that they obsess about me when I couldn't point them out of a lineup.
Speaking of the Trumpster, man, there's a lot of people that causing a stir, man. This no king stuff and that you've talked about already today. And it's just unbelievable. If you look back, and I hate to swap gears with politics.
No, you're good. You're good, because actually I want to play something into that where the media is blaming that shooting, those homicides, those assassinations, those political assassinations. MSNBC is blaming it on Trump.
Yeah, right, and rightfully so. That's what they do. But let's look back for just a second, Clay. So before Elon Musk changed sides and started with Doge and backing Trump and this, that, and the other, how did people on the left or Democratic side, how did they feel about free speech? Do you remember?
Oh, they loved it.
They censored everybody else. They loved it when it was on their end. Now they're promoting. I mean, do you not visualize or think of these protests as some form of free speech?
Oh yeah, I do.
Yeah, absolutely. And so now, when we're trying to cut down on the violence, they're like, "Oh no, bring free speech back." Well, you censored it 2 years ago. when you wouldn't let anybody have a voice toward the elections or and everything that we hear. Now you want to bring it back. I mean, they can't seem to make up their mind on what they want to do.
Well, what they want is they want the Constitution for themselves, and nobody else is supposed to have access to it. Because what they've decided is they've been pushing this thing called hate speech. Well, one man's trash is another man's gold. One man's trash is another man's treasure.
Right.
One man's hate speech is another man's religion. Depending upon your perspective. One man's nickel is another man's dime. So they've coined this term hate speech, and social media companies have adopted it, and they decide what is hate speech. And hate speech is, you don't get free speech for hate speech, is what they've decided.
Right.
So if they disagree with your opinion and it's anything remotely political or what they would coin anti-LGBTQ, and, being anti-LGBTQ, LMNOP, or anti-liberal, that just simply means disagreeing with. It doesn't mean that I hate gay people or trans people or lesbians or anybody else. I just may disagree with it being, so public and forward-facing. And these pride events, just shoving all this stuff down kids' throats and in front of families and everything else. But if you speak out against that, that's hate speech. If you speak out against illegal immigration, that's hate speech. So they try to take your First Amendment away from you by calling your opinions and your speech hate speech. But there's no list of what is hate speech. It basically just means whatever they disagree with today is hate speech. And we have allowed them to implement, to put themselves in all these positions of power. And I don't mean power like necessarily elected positions, but they're in these colleges have been indoctrinating these idiots and turning them into left-wing nut jobs, communist, Marxist. Yeah. And they're in positions of power in the press and everywhere else now, and the CEOs of these companies. And so when the agenda gets pushed out, they grab a hold of it like NPC bots. They're programmed, and that's it. So they don't want us to have free speech, but they want it all. And that was one of the number one reasons I personally voted for Trump. It wasn't necessarily immigration and everything else. It was I thought that he would do more to protect my free speech than any other candidate. Where Kamala Harris, and Sean and I had Shad White on here the night of the election, and we talked about that and how Trump won through the podcasting. And one of the big reasons he won was through the podcasting and stuff and through the free speech and being able to hear Trump outside of a 60-second sound clip or sound bite. You got to hear whole conversations where he had been censored by all the other news outlets. I mean, Jamie, think about this. Going back to post-January 6th, in the months after January 6th, they kicked a president off of social media.
Yes, they did.
They went above and beyond to censor Trump. He was not this is how crazy it got, because I was on YouTube at the time. If you couldn't play clips of President Trump on YouTube, or they would kick you off of YouTube. They would suspend your account for playing clips of a president. People need to wrap their heads around.
Yeah.
And they want us to selectively forget these things.
Right.
Now, do I still use YouTube? Yes, I do. Because yes, Rumble is a quasi-viable second option, but it ain't there yet. I have to use these platforms. I have to take my product. You can't win the war if you ain't on the battlefield. I have to take my product to these places and quasi-play within the parameters of their rules or not be on their platforms. And I know some people have chosen to take their balls and go home, and I'm only going to go where I can, speak my truth or whatever. And I respect that, but that's not how you win the war. You win the war converting people and getting to normies on these platforms. Man, I could go on and on and on about this. You want to talk about First Amendment, son? We can First Amendment it up all day. I will. That is my hill to die on.
It blows me away. I got in a conversation on a fantasy football text thread last week. I mean, I don't mind listening to your opinions, okay? And I don't have to agree with them. I'm not going to combat you on them. When you start criticizing people for the way they believe, I mean, it's just wrong in every way. I mean, these people are not making very much sense, in my opinion.
Before we go to a break real quick, I want to play this 2-minute clip here. This is MSNBC blaming the political temperature in the room on Trump, not themselves. The same people who shot Trump. The same people who just shot two sitting Democrat legislators in Minnesota have the audacity to blame all this on Trump?
Given this is also not a normal question, because I'm going to ask it about the Department of Justice, which heretofore, prior to this administration, it's always been held that the Department of Justice is an apolitical body. Do you see it as such now? And if you don't, the fact that these are two Democratic lawmakers that have been attacked, one killed and one right now fighting for his life in a hospital after being shot multiple times, do you have any doubt, any concern that because of political differences, biases, this will not be addressed the way it should be?
It should be apolitical, right? That's what we have seen from Republican and Democratic administrations up until this one. Right now, Donald Trump has in place people who are more loyal to him than they are to the Constitution and the rule of law. And what really, if I can rewind the tape, if I can, just 4 months ago.
All right, I think we got the wrong clip there anyway, but we'll be right back with Jamie Creel here on The Clay Edwards Show. Log off from the online. We're just going to come back, have about 10 seconds to say bye to the people on the radio. That really wasn't the wrong clip. It was just too long. We ran out of time. Y'all have a blessed one. 3 full hours today. That's a lot of radio. Appreciate everybody. Looks like we had right at 400 people for the better part of the stream consistently. That's strong on a Monday morning at between 7 and 9 a.m. or between 7 and 10 a.m. So I appreciate you guys and girls who logged on and didn't log off, and everybody else. I'll be back here tomorrow, 7 to 9 a.m., back to 2 hours tomorrow. And I will get us a heavy hitters guest next week. And we'll also have Jamie back as a heavy hitters guest soon, because I want to hear his story from car sales to reigning, defending insurance selling champion of the month, year, current generation. Jamie Creel, Shelter Insurance Agent. Y'all be sure to give him a call today for all your insurance needs. Jamie, what's your number?
601-992-6000, or they can reach me on my cell phone at 601-573-6581.
Thank you. Y'all be good. Coming up next on the radio, if you're listening on, if you're watching this, you're not listening on the radio, but you should. Andrew Gosser on WYAB for the next 2 hours. If you like me, you'll love him. He's much better at this than I am. See y'all tomorrow.